In this video, we're going to revisit the 86 Jeep CJ7. Having some running issues with it. It's only running like up to half throttle and hard to start after it sits. So hopefully some gunk in the carburetor. We're getting field delivery problem. I'm not sure. I think since you guys last saw it, the only thing I've done is add the seats. I ended up just getting some new ones online, which are getting full of junk, so they don't have a roof on it and get the holly tree. But otherwise, just enjoying it, you know, the cheap Jeep and having a good time. Me and Jen took it down to the river a few times.
Oh my.
The front's not moving? Are they spinning? Yeah, okay, that's working. Well, let's see if it fires up. It's been sitting for, I don't know, probably a couple weeks in this spot. Real bare, basic in here. Repeat pumps. You know, while it's cold sitting here, let's double check that choke is closing. I believe this has one of those Amazon special carbs on it, which is probably just not dialed in right. I'm sure nobody ever jetted it. What the heck's going on here? Oh, hooked down on the bumper. Yes, the tried and true clanky 4.2. Well, now the choke is fully open because I actually left the ignition on there while I was popping the hood, and this is nice and toasty, the auto choke on it. The way these work is they just get 12 volts positive when the key's on, and there's a little spring that heats up and turns the choke off. You see, this is the manual choke. I wish somebody didn't take that off. I'd rather have a manual choke, you know? But that's a glance at the China no-name carb. You see it's got those Chubber vacuum caps. You get like a month out of these and then they dry rot. The ozone just attacks them or something. I don't know what happens, but let's see if we're getting good accelerator pump action. No, we're not. It's actually only trickling out of one side when I do that. Maybe we just got a float height problem. Trying not to rip the gasket. Yeah, that is the problem. The float level is so low. I mean, otherwise this thing's not gunked up. I don't know what the spec is on it. I guess I'll have to go do a little looking up, but those main jets are barely covered up with gas. And so unless we got a bad pump, but I mean, again, running the drive in it, we've put some miles on it, haven't had a big issue, so the pump's working. I guess we'll just tweak this float or go look the spec up. Take a look at this needle and seat too. Rubber tip, plenty pliable, good shape. One tiny piece of sand or crud in here could cause you a flood in carburetor. Need a better look in there. You can see that the pumper check ball is in place. Everything's looking kosher. Our spring for the pin is good tension on there, placed right in the groove. The baffle is in place, but that is how low the fuel level is. So this spec on this, from what I was just looking up, this is this is supposed to be a Carter, but you know, it's not. With this closed or hanging upside down, it's supposed to be 250 thousandths or quarter inch to this little piece on the brass float, and as you can see, it's beyond. It's so off. It's insane. These are also a little tweaked and bent looking. These should be completely parallel to each other. I'll get this off on the bench, do a couple adjustments, and we'll fire it back up. I don't think we're gonna have to do anything else. Another thing with these brass floats is if they ever get a crack in the solder, shake them and you hear any fluid in there, you know, that would cause them not to float. Or with the foam ones, those can get saturated over time as well and cause float problems. You see these are kind of like bent and tweaked up. After pulling the float out, look how much junk is under there. There's piles of rust and corrosion, probably from the old tank, because we have a brand new tank in this now. So we'll get that vacuumed out and swap out the filter. While I always prefer using steel ones under the hood, we'll do a clear for now, just so we can see if there's any crud still coming through the lines. Make sure you remove the loose parts before blowing these things out. Everybody's done that before, blown a carb out, forgot something in there. I had to bend the float tab quite a bit, but here's how we're looking. Call that about 1/4 inch, 250 thou. If we have to in the future, we'll get more exact with it, but we'll throw that together. A fuel filter, and go with one of these Kubota plastic, or yeah, that'll work. Made in Japan. And that way I can see if there's a bunch of crud in there without having to cut it open. Got this somewhat dialed in. Oh, well, we still got some bog in there. You hear that? Let's see if we're getting a good stream out of the accelerator pump. Yeah, actually a fair bit, but it only seems to be coming from one side. It runs better, and that's good enough for me for now. Let's see how this accelerates full throttle. Yep, still some hesitation though getting into there, but much better than it was before. I brought my hat, my hair is blowing all over the place. Jen's hair is blowing everywhere. The air just kind of like comes down from the top.
And all the dust is going in my eyeballs. Not you?
A little rust in your eyeballs is good, right? That's a nice thing about carburetors, is like you don't have to get them perfect, you just gotta get them better. Look at that. Much better. Much better throttle response. All right, full throttle acceleration here. See, it's got that pop until it gets into it, and then it's fine. So I was just talking to Jen. She said she wants to drive this to the beach tonight, and again, it's really rough on the highway. Let's see if these bolts, should have sprayed these before. Let's see if the U-bolt nuts come off, and if we can just drop like, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 leaves out of here? 2. I'll take it out to here. See how soft it is. Oh man, those shocks are shot. Look at this, 2 fingers. Completely shot. There it is. This is a strong gun. The dachshund in his natural state. I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm doing this like the dumbest way possible. Well, that was easy. Well, Jen's asking me what the holdup is. Took a little bit longer than expected. Probably should have got new U-bolts because the rust on those, had to clean it off. Having a real hard time getting that extra 1.5 inch thread. But yeah, we're gonna have a softer ride, baby.
Woohoo!
Hopefully. Look at the driveway. These ramps are digging in pretty good.
Oh.
You see that? Probably should have put down cardboard, but or plywood, but I don't care. It's a cheap driveway. That's why we didn't do concrete. Anyway, I'll be done in like I don't know, 2 minutes here. There it is. All right, good enough. I'll snug these. We'll hit the road. I'm starting it in 2nd gear there. And with those 5 leaves out, I think that sits much, much better. Let's give it a little jump. I mean, the true test is going to be going down the highway. Make sure it doesn't shoot us out of the seats like it was before. Still a little stiff, but better. And it was probably something I should have knocked out earlier in the day. I figured it'd take me 20-30 minutes, but it took a touch longer with the rust. Feels considerably better with those 5 leaves off each side. Much smoother over the bumps. I think totally doable, you know, reasonable. Nothing like cruising the Jeep with the top down, doors off. The old junker. Got seatbelts. Train's going over. So much better over the bottom. The old clunker made it. Didn't overheat, no issues. Take a walk out on the jetty. What happened?
Yeah, that's sharp right there.
She just got nicked on the sharp. Actually, that's actually a factory corner right there.
No, it's not. Really?
Yeah.
No.
Got this big fishing boat coming out. Oh look, he's putting the outrigger thing down right now. You see that? You don't see that lowering down? That's ballsy.
Yeah.
What if another boat
Does
comes
he have an American flag?
comes through the inlet? He's so wide now. That's wild.
Flag, or am I seeing things? No, it's not.
Melissa K. That feels good.
I was not prepared for that. Oh, get me out of here.
We got lucky and made it back to town without hitting the rain because there was a huge storm came through on the radar. How was your ride on the highway, Jen?
I wanted to put my shirt on, but I didn't want to unbuckle. There was no good time to unbuckle.
Yeah, it was a brutal ride down the highway. I'd say like driving an hour with the top and the doors off gets a little loud. This person's blowing the red light. They're like, screw that. It just pulled in front of all those cars too. Look at that. Okay, well, it was smooth sailing until we heard a loud pop and then a plume of smoke came out behind us.
What the heck?
That was crazy. And since there's a few rust holes in the floor, all this steam was kind of pouring up, and we luckily pulled off here. But we're in town, so I think we'll just use the scooter and skateboard to get home and come back for this tomorrow. Yeah, I think we popped a rat or something. I don't know. I feel like we should just leave it. We probably just popped a rat hose or something. Luckily, we got the skateboard and the scooter. Smooth sailing home. We are midway to the next day and the Jeep is still here. Let's get her home. We'll pop the hood and find out what actually happened. So she made a little bit of a mess on the road. Rusty, cruddy stuff. Rad cap still on. You still got some juice in there. At first glance, everything looks fine. So we'll just fill it up at home. See if this starts up good. Guess I could have just scootered here and rode home in the Jeep. Yeah. Oh, would you look at that? It's just the upper hose. split open. It's probably overpressurizing due to more than likely a blown head gasket based on the looks of this system, but we will get a new hose for it and then continue driving. I just called the parts store, nothing in stock. It's only 18 bucks for a new hose. Should probably order a couple belts for it too. Fair bit of dry rot in between there. Oh yeah, this one's missing a bunch of the little gator teeth on there. Yep, this is the old hydro pump for when that had the digger on there, the post hole digger. Over in my pile of junk, probably got some hoses, just a matter of where they are. Piece off of one of these two. Back when I worked at the shop, I used to always save, if we, actually this one looks brand new, but I would always save used red hoses because you never know when you'll need them. Look at that, perfect. Maybe go cut it like right here. There we go, that's what I call a fast, cheap fix. For now, I'll just fill it up with water. I'm gonna get both those hoses on order along with the belts, thermostat, and we'll maybe rinse out the coolant a little bit at that point. I think we'll put the radiator funnel on here. That way, run it for a little bit, see if a ton of bubbles are coming up. That's gonna end up being really brown and nasty after running it. I really try to not look at this too hard every time because it's like, let's drive it to have fun, but keep noticing the things like the fuel inlet hose is dry rotted, the dipstick tube is broken on the bottom, that exhaust leak on the manifold, that's getting much louder. You can actually smell it a little bit when you're driving down the road too. The knocking noise, that's staying the same though, no problems there. You can see after running a few minutes how many bubbles are still coming up through. See if that clears out. I have a feeling it's not going to though. It's not at boiling temperature right now, that's for sure. About 20 minutes later, here's how we're looking. These tiny little bubbles that just keep appearing and won't go away. If I rev it, and well, you can see nothing major. There's some big bubbles, and then you rev it, shows that water pump's working good. But I don't have a head gasket test kit. I mean, otherwise we would just do that. Another good way to check if there's like a really bad problem with the head gasket is we put the cap on. And right now this hose is plenty soft, the upper radiator hose. But if you rev it a few times, then you notice that it builds up pressure really quick, then that's usually an indicator of the head gasket problem as well. That one doesn't seem to be. Let's see if it built up any pressure. No, it didn't. I think we'll just call it good for now. If the head gasket is leaking, it's not terrible. Still drivable. Maybe not for a cross-country trip. But we're out cruising with the top down, the rad hose on, the Jeep, and here's the old belts I was showing you. They both had big chunks missing out of them now. We got a couple new ones. One's made in India, one made in USA.
Look at these cameras.
Yeah, Jen wanted to get a clip of the old school cameras in here. The old JVC. Probably recording on VHS.
They're still working though, right? They're still working. All right, Chris is gonna turn this one over to me. I'm gonna put the belts on.
Yes, and I will sit here and hang out.
That's right.
This is one thing that's worth getting from a parts store. I mean, they were only 12 bucks a piece, and you can take the old ones off, match them up. You order them online, you might be off, you know. This actually has a crack on the power steering bracket too, but you know, it seems to still be okay for now. So before you put any new belts on,
okay,
you always come in here and spin each pulley and make sure there's no like little rocks or grime in any of the grooves. Oh, no.
What, backwards?
Little pet peeve of mine. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but I actually like it so that the letters are facing the other way.
Are you for real?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You're for real?
I am for real, yeah.
So, okay.
Some of them do have arrows on them too, but yeah, there you go. Nice. She's a good worker, babe.
All right, so.
Just don't burn your hands because it's toasty in there.
I'm good.
Don't you pinch your fingers.
Can I drop it?
Sure.
Is that a bad habit?
No, it's fine. This ratty old turd. Fast forward about a month later, and we're gonna turn this into like a rambling garage update because some things have changed, including the fact that we now have a car lift. And I'm just speechless. I mean, what a game changer, having overhead and space. By the way, excuse the mess right now. I'm still in the process of reorganizing and arranging. Ultimately, I'm going to be taking advantage of all the height on the walls as much as I can, like these 12-foot shelves up here, and throwing a lot of stuff away too. But anyway, just looking at a lot of different brands, and it seems all the car lifts, most of them are all made overseas, which is fine, but I ultimately decided to get a USA-made rotary lift. Spend they're a little bit more money, but I trust them. You know, I've been wrenching a long time at a shop, and that's what they used there. This is the 10K asymmetric. Got a good deal used on Facebook Marketplace. Very light use. It was used in a Mercedes dealership for only a few years. So it's, I mean, as you can see, it hasn't been repainted or anything. These are just, the arms are like brand new. Asymmetric columns, so that puts the center of gravity a little bit further back. And at the end, this will all be clear here, so I'll have a lot more space. And touching on some other items to update with the garage, these trusses up here, I did end up painting those gray with the fireproofing paint since I had some extra, and I think it just looks better that way. I don't know if you guys can see, but anywhere they went thin, and you can still see the spray foam, I just go ahead and hit that, and I'm kind of doing a light coating across all this wood, but look how convenient that is. And of course, I'm not really worried about how it looks so much. I'm just trying to get full coverage. The cool thing about this too is if the tip gets clogged, which has been happening, you just spin the tip around 180. So it looks like that, and then you can blow the tip out. But look, if you see a faraway spot, you know, I mean, look at this. It's so convenient. Also got covers on these lights, which I know with the camera, they're not great on camera, but in person it is much, much better. Started getting some of the wiring done. Thanks Downsader ADV for your help with that. And you can see we're doing exposed Romex all along the tops, but then where it comes down the vertical, it's gonna put everything in conduit. Still a lot of work to do on the electrical. If you guys remember behind this wood panel, when they spray foamed, they said they were able to get behind there completely, but I pulled off the sheet metal on the outside, and sure enough, after cutting it back, they did not, so had them come back out, respray foam that. Good to go there. This is gonna be the 12-foot wall of parts at the end of the day when I'm all done. Been kind of sourcing out some of these old file cabinets. Nice heavy duty. I mean, these are so strong that you can use them as a ladder, really. I mean, maybe not when I'm 90 years old, but you could have these drawers loaded to the gills and then be able to, you know, step on them, get all the way up to your 12-foot ceiling and grab, you know, some blaster or what have you off top of this wall. So lots of work to still do with that and lots of organization. But back to the Jeep, a few updates with that. I did get this aluminum case. It slips right into there perfectly, so I got storage on it. And I've just been loving driving this thing. It's just turned into one of my favorite vehicles to own, and I really enjoy driving it a lot. So went a little ham and ordered a bunch of parts. Got a new harmonic balancer because the old one, oil was getting on the rubber and it started separating. Actually grooving into the timing cover too. And if I stick the screwdriver under here, you see how that whole thing just slides over. We got front sway bar bushings and new bushings for the leaf springs, all polyurethane. Some wiper rubbers, which thank you to the guy who sent this over the PO box, because this does have those rebuildable wipers on there that you can slide new material in. We'll reuse the stainless steel ones. We got parking brake cables and hardware, all 3 brake hoses, intake and exhaust gaskets, 4 shocks, rubber boot for the shifter. I've had that, I just never put it on. Oil pan gasket, rod bearings, because I'm pretty sure that might be what's making the noise, so when I take it off, we'll check it out. Lower rad hose, rad cap, polyurethane motor mounts, a new crank seal, master cylinder, since that one's leaking a touch, And yeah, got the cover off the rear. Gonna be replacing a few brake lines too. A couple of those had rust. Clean this up and looking pretty. Nice paint job on it, minus this dent that was on there. I believe this has got a Dana 44. Could be mistaken. You'll notice lifting this with just the car pads because I don't have the truck frame adapters. I have the extensions, which is sweet, but I was looking online, it's like $440 for the truck frame adapters. Anybody got a used set, let me know. Or maybe Rotary's watching this and they can hook me up with a good price on a set. But anyway, I'm gonna get going on this and slap all those parts on. I'm not gonna video it because kind of in a time crunch, gonna be doing a trip out west to Phoenix for the duct tape drags. Should be a super fun event. We'll maybe see some of you guys out there, and more importantly, I still don't have a vehicle lined up, something cool to bring there. So if you got something reasonable for sale that's neat, needs a little bit of work near Phoenix, feel free to shoot me an email. We are gonna pick up a 62 Econoline that Jen's gonna learn stick shift on. That should be fun. Originally, this update video was probably gonna go on the second channel, but I didn't really have anything to post, and I try to get something up every 2 weeks. So appreciate you guys very much for tuning in. I am gonna end this video with a segment taking Gus out on the river, since it seems like you guys love him so much in the videos. He doesn't have his own channel, but you know, we try to bring him and bring him along as we can. So we'll jump to that now, and thanks. We'll see you guys soon.
Where are we going, Gus?
Going to your favorite spot? I don't know. It smells like it, maybe. Gus, you coming in? It looks like he's already ready to shiver.
Oh.
Because now I came out here for beaches, places to dig. He's really into something right here. He keeps like sniffing it and be like, no, it's right here. It's right there. Oh! What is it? Here, I'll help you. What do we got? There must be something, boy. I know you're not digging for no reason. What is it? He's not on any scent. He's just digging for no reason. Get it, Gus. Go get it. Says, I ain't going in there. You're crazy. Unfortunately, the party will be cut a little short because we definitely got some storms cruising in. Yeah, it's I'd say 5-10 minutes. I was just looking at the radar.
Yeah. Oh.
It's blowing in real fast toward us.
That looks
Oh, did he went in and got the stick. Look at that. Look at you.
like swirly, don't you think?
What does?
It looks a little swirly.
She thinks everything's a tornado. Then ran back to the truck. We'll let this flow through. There's no problem, right? This guy's still fishing. You coming out?
Gus was a bad boy on your seat.
Gosh, what did you do?
Fun
You got
fact,
my seat all wet.
fun fact about dachshunds, they don't like the rain. He
Oh
was
my.
pulling so hard to get in this vehicle. And then he started rolling around.
Come out back, it's nice under the hatch.